I love how Donna is going like this one. Really. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday evening. Callie is just going, hello. I was like trying to figure out where we sit with the camera. That's
I
always
know.
funny here in stream. Yeah,
Awkward.
because it moves us around here, actually. Welcome. It's Tuesday evening, as always, and our Sparkle Hour. And today, our lovely guest, Donna Stott from the States. One of the top coaches in the United States, I can say. She knows really what she's doing. I was saying in the announcement earlier, 10,000 plus hours of coaching, and that is a lot of hours. Yeah. I know that we Kelly and I, we coach a lot as well, and I have done this probably as much as you, but I know how many hours. I'm going to put myself higher right now. How many more hours? But before we go started, the jingle comes really quick, so that gets you in the mood. Now you really can dance.
Okay, let's do it. I'm ready.
And we are back, and you were dancing. I could see it. I know Kellyanne cannot. I can, as the producer here of the show, I can see what you were doing.
I love the tiki bar.
Yeah, it's a really funny thing, actually. There's everybody getting it. I watch it every week. I watch the people. They all go like da 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 da. They're all very happy. And I say that's great. We set you in the mood. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you. Aloha, y'all.
Hey.
How are you doing?
You may not know I lived in Hawaii for 15 years, and now I'm
wow. You did.
So now I'm in Atlanta. So I say aloha, y'all.
Yeah, okay.
Bit of a mix.
Bit of a mix, yes.
Where did you live? Did you live in
on Oahu?
Hawaii?
Yeah, in Hawaii, on Oahu, the island of Oahu, the one with Waikiki and Pearl Harbor, and yes.
You're gonna laugh, Donna. My social security number is 57563.
No.
Oh yes, I have a Hawaiian social security number.
How about that? It is a small world. My daughter still has her 808 area code.
Oh, so it's so funny. It's like, and everybody's like, when now I go in the States and everybody asks me for it, like when you go to the bank and ask them, said your social security number, so we got 575, and they look up at me like, Hawaii?
Where's that?
Don't ask. There's a reason why. Because we see, my father was in the diplomatic service, and when we were a while actually in Hawaii, and that actually the time when they assigned me my social security number, we were in Hawaii. So obviously,
let me guess, were you born at Tripler Hospital?
No.
It was a guess.
No. I moved there when I was 3. So, and I think they signed it was 4 years.
You're of that age. You're of that age that you don't get it until you're a little older. You see, I didn't get mine till I was 16.
Oh, right.
That's how old I am, ancient. You didn't get a social security card till you were ready to go to work back then.
No, it's I think they changed it afterwards. I think it's afterwards 4 or 6 years they actually assign it automatically right now. Yeah.
Now when you get it before you leave the hospital.
Yeah. All right. Is it already that? Oh, they have really moved it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, modern system nowadays, isn't it? Yep. But it's like what we're talking about, how things have changed. A friend of mine was the director of the immigration office in McCarran International in Las Vegas, and I remember in the 90s he was telling me, do you know that over the weekend we cannot check any passport because the systems are disconnected to Washington, D.C.? So he says, if we have a suspicion, we have to let them in the country because we can only hold them 24 hours. So if you landed on a Friday evening, from Friday evening, they could hold you to Saturday evening, but they had to let you go in the country.
Hey, little known fact, that's a tip.
Well,
yeah,
these
stop
times
telling
are
people,
over
Chris.
now. But think about it, in the 90s, and that's why a lot of people actually he said a lot of illegal immigrants knew about the loophole, and that when they landed in the United States on Friday evenings, they made sure that their flight landed
so
Friday
that they could get in.
Of course, they couldn't check anything.
That's amazing. Who
It
knew?
is that kind of funny.
I have a great coaching client in Las Vegas.
Oh,
for about 12 years or so, I've been coaching her.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes. So
I love it.
I'll have to ask her if it's still that way.
No, I don't think so. I think that these things have changed. Now everything is. I think the National Security Act just changed everything.
Probably, yes.
Donna, tell us, what do you do? I mean, first of all, we know each other from the Go Giver Alliance.
We do. I have my Go Giver book right here. Let's just give Bob Berg a lift. So, yes, we know each other from there. I have been coaching for about 15 years and 12 with my own company, Your Coaching Matters. I coach small business professionals, primarily real estate agents and real estate attorneys, real estate brokers, that sort of the industry, because I sold real estate since 1986. So I knew I had some expertise in that area. So that's what I primarily coach, are people who are in what you call estate sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, but you see, nice. you do coach other coaches as well, because
I do coach other coaches as well, because I lead this company, and so I coach some other coaches as well. Correct.
Right. Yeah. So how do you think our coaching industry is developing recently? I mean, in the recent year, because we had the other day the conversation Kellyanne and I had where we say we think we need to be more stringent with qualifications, because nowadays, and especially during the pandemic, everybody suddenly came out of nowhere and said, "Oh, I'm a coach."
I'm a coach. Back in the early years, you didn't need a real estate license to sell real estate, right? In fact, you go back far enough, you didn't need a medical license to practice medicine, right?
Medicine, yes.
So I think eventually we'll get to that point where it is a qualification. And I chose to join the International Coach Federation. So I was trained by a coaching company that was accredited with them, and I get my continuing ed through them, and I keep that accreditation up with the International Coach Federation. It's not required by coaches. Anyone can say they're a coach, but they do good work. And I know there's a lot of people who don't like the organization. I don't get a whole lot, honestly, out of it, other than the training is very good. It is very good training. And for you to maintain membership, you need to do continuing ed. I think they've done a really good job in putting the good trainers in. And so if someone says they're a member of ICF, I know at least that they've had some decent training, had some training at all, even.
That's the point. I mean, I'm not with ICF, but I'm with AC, so I'm with the Association for Coaching. I think they're both, and they're even talking about getting closer together, because obviously their AC is stronger here in the UK than ICF is, and ICF is very, very states orientated. But I do absolutely agree with you. I don't get much out of AC either, beside of invitations to various trainings and etc., which I always think, anyway, if you're interested and you're really serious about your job, you develop yourself anyway. And I'm a constant learner, and I do believe that the coach that thinks that knows it all is the coach that doesn't know anything at all.
Well, all of my subtitles say I'm a lifelong learner, and I am always in a course, always. I did not have the opportunity to go to university. In fact, I got a GED, a general equivalency diploma, when I was 16 years old and went to work. And so I have been working since I was 16 and never had the opportunity to go to college. So what I have done is to take training after training after training after training. And I'm at a period in my life right now where I can both afford good training and I have the time to take it. And so I've been really delving deep into the Akimbo courses with Seth Godin. So I took the Alt MBA course a few years ago, and I've been taking some of his other courses. In January, I'm starting 2 back-to-back courses, one on storytelling and one on writing and community. And my intention is at the end of 6 months, I will have a book to publish.
Amazing.
My first ever.
I just published mine, so I know the route you're going through, and that is great, and that's really, really good.
Thank you.
But what we want to do, as I said, we do the quick round. Now, we already got into a conversation. We're already 10 minutes into the show. We look about that, how quick it goes. But I still we want to know something of Donna that isn't Donna about business.
Okay. Tell me.
I'll start here.
Away.
Pizza or pasta?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I love both of those. Italy is one of my favorite places in the whole world, and you can get really good on both. I'm going to say pizza because my youngest son, has learned to make great pizza, studying Italian videos in Italian and translating them. And so I'll go with my son's pizza.
Amazing.
Double thing, learning language and making great food.
It's
fantastic.
Amazing.
Win-win situation.
I'll go with shower or bath.
I shower most of the time, but I love a bath. When I say to my husband, it's time for me to take a bath, he knows, okay, leave her alone. Go get in the bath. Right? And I have one of those giant tubs, that
nice.
I have some candles and some rose petals in the corner that are dried from our rose bushes outside. So
wow.
I mostly shower, but but probably at least once a week I have a bath.
So bath is the favorite. Now, favorite color, Donna?
I love red. Red is one of my favorite colors. I wear black most of the time.
Go figure.
But when I wear red, people say, that's your color.
The famous person that you would most like to have coffee with, and why?
Ooh, that I haven't had coffee with already.
Ooh, yes. Mic drop.
Most famous person I'd like to have coffee with, like right now, it would probably be Seth Godin, because I love his business blog. I've been reading it probably about since it came out, and I think he's brilliant, and I would love to just ask him a few questions about where we're going and what we're doing in the world, because he always seems to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very, very good choice. Dog or cat?
I'm allergic to both. I've had both, and I developed these allergies, so I can't have any. If I had to pick and I wasn't allergic, I'd choose cat.
All right.
Fair enough.
I literally get shots twice a week because I've developed this horrible allergy from my last two cats. And then our last dog finally passed away last year. So we have no dogs. We have no pets for the first time in my whole life.
Aww.
So I know it's very sad. But when I go to my girls' house that have pets, then I break out and my eyes swell. It's terrible. So
yeah.
But I dearly miss cats. I don't miss the dog as much.
He doesn't know, it's fine. Would you prefer to have a romantic dinner at home or a night out in a club?
Oh, at home. I'm really enjoying this home stuff.
A lot of people have said that, actually.
Yeah.
Paris or London?
I would choose London. I've been to both. I did not, Paris is fine. It's okay, but they're not as friendly.
No.
And I really liked London. I felt very at home, but my great grandparents came over from England into Ellis Island. I found them on the rosters and everything. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So I have history.
That is great. We've done the research, actually. That is really, really good.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I have some china that she brought over from London still.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. That's nice to keep these things, isn't it?
I was just thinking, what am I going to do with it? So, yeah.
Pass it on. Pass it on. Yeah, it's always got history, hasn't it?
It's very unusual.
Favorite music?
Oh, gosh. My favorite song right now is Jon Batiste, Freedom. Have you seen it?
No.
It's a music video. You have to write it down. Jon Batiste, and it's called Freedom. It's not George Michael's Freedom.
Yeah.
It's John Batiste Freedom, which is also a very good song.
Okay.
But it's called Freedom, and I swear you will watch it and you'll be dancing, and you're gonna when I move my body like this, just do it. Just do it. You'll be an addict.
I need to see it now.
Yeah,
yes, you have to.
And the final question here is chameleon or flamingo?
I'm more chameleon. I grew up in Central Florida, so there were a lot of flamingos. And my sister-in-law loves flamingos. My sister-in-law, Tracy, loves flamingos. So I'll let her have those and I'll take a chameleon.
We'll let you off then.
I've had to be a chameleon a lot of my life, you know.
You asked the question earlier with the flamingo in the background.
I did.
This is the internal fight between Callie and me. I was actually the game. So I'm at 5. She's 1 down now.
Flamingos are awesome, but you know, my sister-in-law just sort of owns them. So, you know, if I claim them, I don't want to upset her.
They are lovely animals, and that's why I say I'm more the colorful chameleon one here, where Callie is the flamingo. And she has. I actually spent Christmas with Callie and her boys, and so it was really fun. And every present she got from me was something to do with flamingo, and that was such an easy thing for me because it's like, what am I gonna buy her? Flamingo. What was it? Flamingo tears gin, right?
Yeah.
That was like. Then the flamingo statues and a big
little yogas
statue.
Those flamingo socks, those would be good. Long ones. They go up, you know, up to the knee.
Oh, that would be nice. I love a fluffy sock.
Okay, you're going to have to send me your address because now I know.
Now, Donna, I want to go into one thing that I read in your initial form you filled out when we were setting up this session, and you were telling me about your dancing, because I used to dance Latin American competition. I actually did 3 world championships and actually won 3 times the world championship with my team. So I have done that in my life. So I was like, all right,
I got to watch your little video, didn't I?
Dancer. Yeah,
was it wonderful? You know, it's so funny. When I was in middle school, I tried out for the cheerleaders and I didn't make it, but they let me be in the dance corps, right? And it was one of the most fun times I've ever had, is learning a routine and doing the dance. I really enjoyed it. And I always enjoyed dancing just for fun, never for huge competition. I made a little money dancing, but not a lot. And mostly I have just enjoyed dancing all of my life. And I think that when we dance with, for example, the difficulty in our lives, when we look at it as a dance rather than a fight, right? Yeah. There's, what does it say? What does it say? So it's just life. So keep dancing through. Yes. Okay. So we teach something in our coaching about monkey mind and about dealing with the monkey mind, right? Common thing. We have all of these symptoms of monkey mind and what to do with them. But the idea is you don't want to fight the monkey. You don't want to fight. The monkey mind is there to protect us, right? Yeah. That amygdala is there to protect us. It keeps us from stepping off the curb into traffic. What we want to do is learn to dance with it, know when we let it lead and know when we're leading. And we learn to dance with it. And it's so much more effective and fun than thinking about pushing it down or pushing it away or locking it in a room, right? And so so that's what I'm talking about with dancing. And what did I tell you about freedom? I was dancing to the Freedom song last night in my living room, and I danced to it all weekend because my grandson and granddaughter were here, so we're playing it for them. The music video is incredible. So
and that is, you bring in such a great point here, because you talked about the monkeys. It's complex, and I think it's a brilliant book. I've read it so many times already. I have it in Audible actually as well. Mm-hmm. I listen to it constantly because it's really funny how a lot of times we limit ourselves, and that's where you say, like, oh, are we trying to control everything? And we should actually express ourselves. And the burst you get from, like you're saying, oh, freedom, I'm going to dance.
Yeah.
I get up every morning, and the first thing I like, I need to put on music. If I don't have music in the morning, I'm not in a good mood.
Yes.
The next thing is my
It
coffee.
has the power, right? You know, music
has
and
the power.
dancing have the power to shift everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about this song, because he's doing all kinds of silly things, but it's really about just move your body and you feel such freedom. And so I think you'll really like it. I'm so glad you didn't know about it already.
No. Is it big on TikTok now, is it?
I don't know if it's TikTok. I just pull it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, someone posted it on Facebook once, and I watched it and I loved it. And it was funny, when I bought my iPhone, they said I had 6 months of Apple Music for free,
Yeah.
right? Which I don't usually pay for anything like that. But I saw this video and I went, oh, I want that. I want that music. And so I went ahead and set up the free Apple Music for 6 months. And now this song is probably going to end up costing me $10 a month starting June 2022 for the rest of my life, because I wanted that one, you know?
Yeah, we've all been there.
But I have already used like $50 worth of it, of fun out of it anyway. So I'm okay. Dancing
Brilliant.
is great. And if you can't, like, I have bad knees. So when we do like go dancing, I can dance a song or two, and then I really have to sit and rest them, right? But my husband tells me I'm the best chair dancer in the world. I dance in the car.
The best place.
And
Nobody's watching.
This is what you always. I mean, every time I see you and watch you in the Go Giver Alliance, this is why we all aligned, and I think why the Go Giver Alliance is so aligned. We are all people that really enjoy life and believe in being there for each other anyway, and that's as a go giver going forward. And I think it's real. It's just, you see the enthusiasm of the people, actually. And I see when you always have a wisdom, you always have a quote. I love that. Donna always has a quote.
Nice.
On everything, and she always finds a quote on the day, and I really love that, because you share that with us as well, which is good to reflect. But as you said, music is such it's such a mood transporter, actually.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I look like at Happy. Everybody remembers Happy from, what's his name?
Yes.
Will Ferrell or something like
Yes,
that.
Will Ferrell. This song is similar to that, in that it just catches you, you know. So I love the Happy song. Yeah.
And I think it's, for us as coaches, is really important as well to be in this spectrum all the time, because that's what our clients expect us. If we come in,
they count on it, right?
Yeah.
They count on you to be able to help lift them. And music can do that, and movement can do that. It's so very important.
Yeah, I always say, like myself, I do between every coaching call, I get up and I do something activity wise, because I need to. As well, not just only for own fitness, because we spend a lot of hours now with Zoom anyway, with the pandemic, sitting in an office chair.
Yeah.
But as you said, it just re-energizes me every time. And even if I listen to 1, 2, 3 songs that really bring me back in a mood, get my coffee, and I have Alexa everywhere in my house. So it's like, it follows me around the house. So, but you absolutely made a really good point. And as you said, the clients count on it, because if I come in frustrated, tired into the next call,
it's obvious
this is going to be a bad session, and we don't know done that. How do you do that, Kellyanne? Because I want you to get, like, what is your go-to? You're a mother with 3, so I tell you, she has enough.
2 minutes quiet is always nice, but I've actually got a happy playlist that I've got on. I've got 2 actually. I've got one that's sort of What Your Mother Never Told You, which everybody can access, so like clients out there can access it as well. And there's loads of really, really good stuff on there. And then I've got my personal happy playlist. And if I just need 2 minutes, I do just sort of, I'm like, right, boys, just give me a few minutes, because they're a lot older now, aren't they? So it's not, so my boys are 15, 12 and 8. So they're not little. So at least they know if I need a bit of space, just let mum dance about in the kitchen, listening to a playlist for a little while, and she'll be fine. But 100%, and even at work, sort of my day job. So in my day job, I'm a nursing officer in the army. And if I just need a couple of minutes in between patients, especially if we've had somebody who's come in with like mental health problems, it can be really draining sort of listening to their story. So again, it's just a few sort of deep breathing techniques. I'm a big fan of box breathing. That usually works really well for me.
Yeah, the four sides.
Yeah, and just to pull you
Yeah.
out of it. So I think, yeah, those for me are the two main things that I do. How about yourself, Donna?
Yeah, the box breathing is excellent. I learned that a few years ago, and that fourth hold in the box breathe, right? That's the one that gets you, the doing nothing at the bottom of the box.
Yeah.
And the imagery that I was taught was on the left side of the box. When you breathe in, it's like the spring, like the four seasons. Okay, so it's spring. You're planting something. You're getting that air into you. And then the hold at the top of the box, where you're sorry about that. Can you hear that? I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
Anyway, at the top of the box, you've got the summer, and that's where everything's growing. Your body's taking in all those nutrients, right, that you breathed in. And then when you're breathing out, it's the fall. So you're harvesting. You're getting rid of everything. And then the bottom of the box, where you're doing nothing in that box breathing, that's the winter, where we're just being still.
Yeah.
Right. And we're so often taught triangle breathing. So I'm glad you brought that up, because box breathing is a huge thing for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, beside of the medical efficiency behind it, and giving your body enough oxygen and getting rid of any toxins that might be in your system.
Right.
It is such, as you said, it's this mindfulness as well, especially in the calm moments where you sit there and you find yourself. I think it's like something as well where you say, sit down and try to. It's very difficult for people nowadays to take 5 minutes and be with themselves. The quietness is eerie for that. And it's such a
we fill
thing.
Every second, right? We fill every second. And that's a really important point, Chris. My husband likes to play music in the car, and I like to have some times where it's just silent, where there's just silence, right? And so it's very different. Just at lunch today, I took something to my two daughters' houses, and I didn't turn the book on, which I'm reading a great book on Audible called Before and Laughter. Write that one down. That's another one. Before and Laughter by Jimmy Carr. He's from the UK.
Oh, I love him.
Hey, Jimmy Carr, Before and Laughter. Anyway, I love the book, and I wanted a few minutes with my Jimmy, and I decided, no, I'm going to just have silence. I'm just going to have silence. And so it was needed, I had a frustrating morning, that side of the business where you're trying to do billing and accounting and budgeting and blah, 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 none of the fun stuff.
All the stuff you hate.
All the stuff my assistant usually does, but she's on maternity leave. And so I'm having to do. So I needed just some silence, right? So.
Yeah, I think it works really well for me. I always used to be running. So if I needed a little bit of time away, my husband would have to stay at home with the kids, and I'd just get out and run, and not listening to music or anything, just out of my own head. Yeah. It's really important.
It is. What do you do, Chris?
What do I do? I do actually, as I say, I start my morning routine. So I have ADHD. So obviously for me, focus is a big issue. And so my morning routine is I get up in the morning, brush my teeth, do all these things, start with my music, go get my coffee. That's the first thing. And then I sit down and then I do a brain dump. And a brain dump for me is everything that comes in my mind that I think I need to accomplish today. And I just dump it out. And I need to have this moment of myself. Then I pick up Tony Robbins' 365 simple steps, right? So I do the step of the day. I reflect on it, write my journal, write my affirmations for the day and etc. So I'm very in my routine on a daily basis. I used to do the podcast every morning at 5:30, and actually, we have comments actually, and I just did that. I stopped the podcast early. Let me see. Absolutely. Here we go, Victor. And
Hi, Victor.
Hi, Victor. So I do that, and I have the same thing as well during the day. And I do it mostly in lunchtime, and I do it in the evening as well, where I literally take 10 minutes. And Kelly and I, we used to be both Beachbody coaches. We're not both anymore, but hey, we used to. But we're still having access to obviously we're still using Beachbody as a fitness program, and some of the Beachbody program has the mindfulness. That's 10 minutes of just meditation and sit down. And every day it's a different person, and it's about finding your inner peace and etc. So I do that on a daily basis, mostly in the evening, and I just sit there and let the day wind down. And especially for me as ADHD, it's very important to just calm down and actually reflect on that. And
Right.
I think it's just it. I think it's just so important to do that, because if we don't take these 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes over the day, I think I spend about an hour in total with all my journals and affirmation cards and reflections, what I do. I think, as you said, we are overloaded. We are so filled every single second. I had like one last week, or the last week, Kelly and I think, before, just right before Christmas. I had a day, I went from one coaching call to another, and I had 11 hours of coaching non-stop. And it's just where you go, like, you're mentally exhausted, because obviously you're trying to help your clients, but I do practice IFS, so internal family system. So a lot of things is with parts as well. And I have to always check in with my own parts. Did my client not trigger my own parts? Am I here in a protection mode or something like that? And I was literally physically and mentally exhausted at the end of the day.
Well, 11 hours is going to do that to you.
Yeah, oh yeah. But even 4 hours is going to do that to you if you do not take the breathing out. And here our devices don't really help us, do they? I said the other day on another call, actually, or actually on another podcast, I was actually saying, we're talking about the age of communication, and actually we're not communicating anymore. We're doing everything quick on a text message, but the actual face-to-face conversation is flatlined completely. And I find that really, I don't think if it is actually helping us. I don't know how you see that, Donna. We would like to have your viewpoint on
We
it.
do I do all of my coaching is, it used to be over the phone, and most of it now is by Zoom. So at least we're seeing each other's faces. And what I find is that there's less multitasking going on if we're at least looking at each other.
Yes.
And so that has been Zoom. I was using Zoom before the pandemic. I was one of the first users on Zoom in 2015, 2016, I think. So quite a long time. And that, I think, has made a huge difference, because if you're not going to be with people in person, it is the next best thing, Yeah. So it's very helpful. And when you're doing group things, making sure that there's a breakout session where people are together in small groups of 2 or 3. See, like, this is a lot of fun. There's 3 of us. I think you guys are also seeing some other people that are maybe joining us online somewhere. I don't see those people, but it feels like the 3 of us are in the living room together,
And
so
it's good.
And that's the idea of it. Yeah, we're streaming it live. I'll say, so we're streaming it live. That's when I push the comments over. We're streaming it live to YouTube, to Facebook, and to LinkedIn now as well.
Right.
And it's really what we want to do. The show, what we said earlier, we talked before in the green room, we talked about the show. Initially, Kelly and I wanted to help other coaches, right? That was it. We wanted to talk about coaches. And then somehow it developed more into, we're talking about life with coaches, but with business owners, with everybody, even with just anybody that has something to say. And it has turned into more into this let's talk about life here.
Well,
I think
I would call it like a fireside chat. That's what we'd call it in the
Oh, yeah,
military,
a fireside chat.
which is really
Yes.
nice. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
like
think
it.
your point, Chris, of and Kelly also of there's just too much to choose from, right? There are too
Yeah.
many of everything to choose from right now. And
Yeah.
it's really not good for our mental health to have this many choices. We think about freedom being lots of choices, but too many choices paralyze us. And
Yeah.
so it's the people who can that are very, very successful actually limit their choices. They limit to just a few things. They don't want to know about everything. They
Yeah.
purposely do not look at all their options. They look at a few and choose from that. So I think that that's probably the next place we can go as coaches to help people, is to be very clear about limiting your options. And that and that is it's easier said than done, right? It's easy to say, okay, well, I'm only going to I'm not going to subscribe to any more blogs that come in. Well, you already have 47. So what are you going to do about that, right? So we almost need to employ a personal assistant to filter out for us, and then just put before us the few things that we need to see. So I actually think we're going to see a lot more virtual assistants and personal assistants that are necessary in today's world to have a line of defense. Back in the old days, you used to have a secretary that sat outside the business executive's door, right? Why were they there? They were there to prevent interruptions by too many choices for that executive. So we're in a place now where we need to put into place that executive secretary position that is going to insulate us and only have us see the most important things. And that's a huge benefit to us. It's also a huge responsibility for that person. You see, so you have to have the right person. Choosing the right person who's not just going to say, well, the first two of the day and that's it, right? But is actually going to filter for you and to spend they know you enough, they know you well enough, and they know your industry well enough to be able to filter for you.
And it's funny you bring that point up, because Kelly and I were talking about that, and as we're growing now as a coach couple, let's put it that way, because obviously we both coach on each side as well, our own clients, but we do things together. And I said, we had this conversation in the beginning of the last year, end of the year, we had the conversation, Kelly, and we need to get a VA, because it's overwhelming. And I do see that on a daily basis with all the emails I have to go through and everything. And even I coach executives. So I coach top CEO level C-suite executives. That's what I do. And especially I narrow it down even to neurodivergent people now, that actually in these suites, well, which narrows it down, because I'm going down my niche even more, because I'm already on wait list, and I have an endless wait list already, where I cannot even accept, as you said, 11 hours is a lot. But this is because how the business has grown. And I see on a daily basis when I talk to my clients as well, where they always struggle with the same thing. They're overloaded with information.
Correct.
And they sit in the C-suite and say, what else? I'm sitting 14 hours in the office.
Yeah.
My employees hate me because I make decisions that are not maybe favorable sometimes to the employees, but I have to make the decisions because I don't have a choice, because that's how our industry goes right now. I don't need to do it. And they have no relationship with their partner, their children, doesn't even exist. I actually read recently a statistic. The C-suite executives is one of the highest divorce rates actually that exist of C-suite, because they all get divorced because they don't have a life beside the business anymore. And that is because of the
suicide risk as well.
Yeah, it's the
Massively.
suicide, the same thing.
And
It's
when you
just
think about all of that from the overloading, all of that from the overwhelm of, it's the flip side of the big world that we live in. It's the dark side, is having too much, having so much that you're paralyzed, having so much that you can't make decisions, right? Your fear of making the wrong decision is causing you to make no decision at all. And so we've done a lot of work on that. And when we can keep it very simple, I think I sent you and I've read to you the definition of success from one of my mentors, Dr.
Yes.
Maria Neiman, right? So Dr. Maria Neiman says that it's very simple what success is. Success is doing what you said you would do consistently with clarity, focus, ease, and grace. So doing what you said you would do consistently. It sounds very simple, right? But it starts with doing what you said you would do. You must say, this is what I'm going to do. One of the things I love, Chris, about your morning routine is you do this brain dump. This is what I'm willing to do today. These things, not something different, these things, right? And so starting with what is it that I'm willing to do? And then you've got to do it with clarity. I know why I'm doing it. I know why I'm doing it. It's very clear. It's part of my life intention. It's part of a bigger plan. I'm doing it with focus. So the second word is focus. Focus means that we're actually filtering out everything else other than the path to that one thing, right? We can't let anything else in. We've got to have the focus. And then doing it with a sense of ease rather than angst. Because if we cross that finish line saying, gosh, this was so horrible, I'll never do it again. All right.
Yeah.
That's sort of counter to success, right? So we want to do it with a sense of ease. And then that sense of gratefulness, that sense of grace, that this is a blessing. That isn't this experience a blessing to have gotten to this, right? So I love that definition because it's very, very clear. And it's also very different for each person. Your definition of financially successful would be different than my definition of financially successful, which would be different from somebody else's definition of financially successful. But you can each be successful by doing what you said you would do. So if it was financial, for example, doing what you said you would do with money consistently, with clarity, focus, ease, and grace, right? So it's a great definition, and I love that. And it does help us to not be distracted. You see?
Yeah, I can see that. I obviously never heard that before, but for me, I know what it's like sort of for myself. So my coaching focuses around professional mums. And very sort of similar thing, obviously on a different side of the spectrum, but it's not having that clarity and it's not having that focus. And I think that's where they tend to fall off the sort of wagon with everything that they want to achieve, because they've got the children, they've got this to do, they've got that to do. And then they're rushing from one thing to another, and they're not actually sitting down and saying, right, what do I actually need to do? And how am I going to do it?
So what am I willing to do? Right? What is it that I want, and why? What's the purpose of it? I think making sure you're clear on your life's intentions, because your life's intentions change. As a mom, part of your life's intentions is being a loving family member, being a loving mom, right? Where those kids grow up and see now at your kid's age, Kellyanne, maybe that's not the primary focus anymore because they can handle so much of that on their own, right?
Yeah.
So things shift as time goes on, but knowing, these are my 2 or 3 primary life's intentions right now, help us to not be upset about not going for number 4 or number 5. You see, because it's a different time period for number 4 or number 5. I think it's, a myth that we can do everything and be great at everything all at one time. I raised 5 children. My youngest is 20. My
Amazing.
38, so they're 20 to 38. The 20-year-old's the pizza guy.
You're not that old, Donna. This is ridiculous.
That's amazing.
Yes, he's selling pizzas out of his college dorm room.
Oh, I love that.
Like he has a logo and everything and a name for it, and I say, you can't sell pizzas out of your dorm room. It's illegal. And he says, no, they're buying my time. They're buying 5 minutes of my time. And then they just get a free pizza. So he's got it all nailed, right? So little entrepreneur, right? Little businessman. So he and his roommates make pizzas, and that's how they make money. But it's that's his focus right now. Is that going to be it forever? No. But you
No.
see, he to be financially successful for him is to sell 16 pizzas a week or whatever it is out of his dorm room. So we all shift all the time. But raising those children was a very huge part of my life for many years, where one of my life's intentions this year is to be a successful writer. I have not had that as an intention before because I had other things, you see?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
It's interesting. I feel like you have read my book already, which I don't think you
I
have.
haven't.
Because I'm actually talking, we see a lot of the things. My book is about procrastination and finding the why behind, and I'm explaining about
Yeah.
why we do procrastinate and what it is. And actually, as you said, we never asked us the why question, or we only asked it once and then we don't go. But I always say you need to ask 5 times why. So let's
Yes.
say
The
you want to
5
lose
levels.
weight.
Yeah.
Why do you want to lose weight? Well, because I gained. Well, why did you gain? So
Yes.
go
Why?
down the
Why?
rabbit hole, figure out what was
Yes.
the actual core problem here. And that is as well with your motivation. What do you want to do? Well, I want to make $1 million. Why? Ask
Yes.
yourself why.
Yes.
Why do you
Yeah.
really want the $1 million?
What are you going to
What
do with it, right?
exactly?
Yeah.
And it's so funny that people just say, "Oh, I want this brand new car. I want this. I want to have a successful business." But when you really ask them,
And you go
why
It's
do you
deep.
really
want it?
interesting.
Why do you want
Yeah.
it? They can't even
Yeah. It all
answer
comes
you.
down to safety and security. It really does eventually, a lot of the time. But you mentioned procrastination, and procrastination is actually a huge key in success. You have to procrastinate on purpose a lot of things. Think about it, right? You must procrastinate most stuff so that you can focus on the thing you're working on, right?
Good
That's
point.
the one thing you want to not procrastinate on. But the people who are very successful are very good at procrastinating those little things that are getting in the way. So productive procrastination is the key.
Oh, I
Well,
like that.
I say I call it intentional delegation
There you
because
go.
I delegate it away.
Or
That's the
sometimes it
point.
can be just procrastinated. Sometimes you can just say, I'm going to put that. Have you ever seen what is it? The Kanban board, the Kanban board, where you have,
No.
there are 3 columns. It's a method, right? And you have doing, done, and backlog. So what is it that I'm actually working on now goes in the doing column. When I finish it, it goes in the done column. And the backlog column actually is at the beginning of the 3, because backlogs where I'm going to put all the stuff that are ideas that I'm not actually working on right now. Oh, I have an idea. Do I have time for it in my doing column, or can I stick it in my backlog? Right?
Okay.
So you don't lose it. You use little sticky notes, and you just have the 3 columns.
See, I do it. I have a very similar method, but different method. So what I take, and I'm talking in the book about it, is like I use distractions as an opportunity. So when my phone, so you see, when I do my brain dump list, I create what I call the procrastination loop list. So this list is all little tiny tasks that help me go to my main goal on the day. In between these tasks, I write every fifth. Somebody's music here. Oh, it's the sun. And there you go. And the thing is that I have on this list, I put even my breaks in there. So when I get distracted by the phone, I ask myself 3 questions. Is it important right now? Yes or no? If it is not, I'll pick a task on my mini list, on my procrastination list, and do this little task, because actually I'm using it as an opportunity.
Got it.
That instead of looking at this message, and now in between, while I go down my mini task list, eventually, every time the phone bims and makes a noise, I go back to the list and say, well, what else mini task can I do? There will be at one stage break. And this is the moment where I attend all these messages that I
On your
didn't
break.
attend. So actually, I give the ease of mind or the peace of mind to myself. I will attend to these messages,
Yes.
but I will do it when it's on the
Right.
list.
It's on my
Yeah.
calendar as clear emails. I have a
Same.
calendared item that says clear emails, right? So when you said you sent me an email earlier today, I hadn't hit the clear emails item on my calendar today yet, right? But I do try and do it at a particular time, sometimes a couple of times a day, where I am intentional about I don't need to do it now because it's on my calendar to do. I teach a method, and my first book may be about this, called Do It, Move It, or Delete It. It's a time management method that I trademarked
Okay.
in the US. And it's a method that, allows you to stay on task and also not beat yourself up when it doesn't work out that way, because we do live in physical reality. And especially, Kellyanne, as a mom, you have physical reality occur when it wasn't planned, right? I have a vision of how
It's unpredictable.
Exactly. That's physical reality by definition. It's unpredictable. But we have visionary reality and we have physical reality. And then there's that border in between where we're trying to cross from visionary into physical. And that's where monkey mind, by the way, comes up the most often, is right in between those two realities. I do a whole talk on that, but not today, since we're over. Another time. Invite me back. We'll talk about physical reality and visionary reality.
That sounds amazing.
That is amazing. I mean, it's like, it's, as you said, it's just applying these methods. And I think a lot of people don't pay the attention to that they are really valuable strategies. And I think that's why we're good. That's why our clients hire us, because they realize that they need, well, beside of the accountability, which is always a big subject anyway with any coaching, but they actually need this person that cheers them up on one side, and on the second side as well, gives them these strategies to get out of their unfocused mess that they have there in front of them, and put them back on the focus and say, listen, this is the most important thing. And as you said earlier, I said, they need the assistant, because otherwise they'd be.
I think that's the next thing. We've had and you're seeing more and more of that, more people offering virtual assistant services. But you need to find someone good, talk to someone that you know who has one. I've been using the same virtual assistant for over 10 years. So I know this is a person that I can count on. I know she knows me. She reads everything that I write. She probably knows me better than any other person in the world, because she proofs everything, reads everything, goes over everything, sees who emails me. My life is an open book. I have no secrets.
It's so funny that you say it, because Tony Babcock, one of our friends that was in our virtual summit we had, as well as a coach there, he actually, when I was with him talking about the overload it has and why I didn't want to get a virtual assistant initially, and he actually put me onto it. I said, Tony, but the problem is they will not know how to speak in my name, because I prefer to have it that way. And he said, and he gave me an absolute brilliant idea, and I actually started doing it, and I have like already probably 6 gigabytes full of that one. He said, do a screen record of everything you do. And when you hire the virtual assistant, he says, here's the bloody dress. You watch every single thing I've been doing for the last 24 hours or whatever, in the last days. And you know how I say it, what I do, and why I do it that way.
And over time, the longer you keep them, the better, right?
Yes.
The better they get. It's this virtual assistant. I've known her for 10 years. So for 10 years, she's gotten to know me. How good is she today compared to year one? Oh my gosh, 1,000 times better, right? So I'm a big believer in, don't find someone who's on a path to become something else. I'm doing virtual assistant while I learn to do whatever, right? You want someone who's been doing this a while and who this is their career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are very good ones out there. I mean,
there are very good ones.
But as I say, you do obviously need to find the alignment with them and see, do they understand where you're coming from? Mm-hmm. How do I tick? And I tick particularly.
Yes. Yes. They must, and they must be in some alignment with you, as
Yes,
far as
exactly.
those things are concerned. If there's not an alignment there, it doesn't work. So I have an in-house assistant. I always have an in-house one. She's on maternity leave, just had a baby. Kayla, Kayla from some
Yes,
of the calls. Kayla just
yes.
had her baby. So she will
Mm.
be out for a few months. But I know I can count on my virtual assistant to back up what Kayla was doing during this time. And then, of course, sometimes I'm going to be doing it because it has to get done.
Yeah, and you're busy anyway. And one thing I wanted to touch on, because we're almost at the top of the hour. See how quick it
Yes,
goes,
we're
actually.
so
Wow.
fast.
Really?
Yes, it's 55 minutes already. We are. It's like the time flies by, always the thing. You see, the longest time I've been sitting in the calls was Bob, and I'm really bad, and I feel really embarrassed about it. Did you know that I didn't realize Mike was your husband until about 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, Mike's my husband.
It is so funny because they're both not, Mike's not always there in the call, but you were
Yeah.
quite frequent actually.
Yes.
But then for some reason I looked at it and and I think it was Bob asked something Mike and then he asked you,
Yes.
and I've looked both times and stood, and I'm like, and I was in the back chat with Estelle and I said, and I think you had an interview with Estelle actually, or you had a chat with
Yes.
Estelle,
Yes.
and I said, is Donna the wife of Mike? And she said, yeah. And I'm like, duh.
There's not a lot of Stotts. So, yes.
Yeah, but you see, Donna, I didn't even.
That's why I moved to Hawaii, because Mike was there. I was in Central Florida and we met in Asheville, North Carolina. And a year and a half later, I moved to Hawaii and we got married. So,
Oh.
yeah,
See, this is like,
long distance romance.
But you see, with your network, you're bringing in so many people into the Go Giver Alliance. So I think,
Yes.
yes, you are very active, and I think, and I want to touch on that on the final moment here again.
Yes.
What do you think? Why is the Go Giver Alliance so important, and why you think we should grow it even more as it is right now?
The very different thing, as you know, I've worked with coaches, real estate agents, brokers, team leaders, that type of industry for the longest time. What I love about the Go Giver Alliance is that you're working with professionals in a lot of different industries. And so you're going to hear different things. It's not going to be the same thing that you've heard before. You're going to be bouncing things off of people who don't work in your industry. And I think we all spend too much time in one particular industry, whatever that may be. So having someone who works for a nonprofit, and having someone who sells Avon, and having someone, who sells health insurance or whatever. These are very different fields, and having them come together into the Success Alliance really gives an entirely different way. It's like that turning your face a different way. You get a different viewpoint. So I'm very excited about joining. And we will be having, we're going to be doing a small group with Bob in Central Florida at the end of March. And it will be the first time I'm meeting him face to face. I'm fortunate to have met some other really nice authors. Is it time? Is that our time is up? Anyway.
No, but that's okay. Don't. We're not going to go to the time because the time is up.
Meeting Bob and Kathy in person is going to be near and dear to me. I'm very excited about that. Yeah.
And I fully understand, because we had Kathy already here on the show with us. You mentioned a few people that have been on the show already. Lisa is actually going to come be on the show.
Lisa's phenomenal. I keep ordering Avon.
I was guest on her show, and it's like the lipstick lady.
Lipstick. I told you I had to go get Avon. I had to go get Lisa's lipstick before the show. So
she's just amazing, and that's what I really love, because this conversations we're having here is anybody that's listening, watching it in replay, whatever, there are so many nuggets that we give, and it's just a conversation, a simple conversation. We're not going like, oh well, let's talk about real estate. We could have talked probably about hours about real estate, but if people want to
Crazy.
reach out, if one of people to reach out, and they will want to have some idea about your real estate, here again, and I just put it back again. Reach out to Donna. There she is. And even if
Yes.
you're a coach, please reach out to Donna, because
Yeah.
I'm sure she will be more than happy to help you. But I think it's really important that we have this open conversations about everything, and that's what I love about the Go Giver Alliance as well, because I learn from everybody of you every time I'm sitting there. Such a nuggets that you can't buy. You can't actually buy. It's just
It's
incredible.
the best deal out there. Really is.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
and if you are in real estate, I have a great group real estate program, a great group coaching program that's phenomenal, and under $100 a month. So if anybody is interested in that, let me know.
Please contact
Awesome.
Donna.
Yeah, I can do that if it's a group. I can't do it if it's one-on-one, but I can do that with a group, and I love the group.
Group coaching is so powerful, and that's because obviously you get as well different perspectives from people as well, and this help with each other, which I struggle sometimes with executives. Actually, is this one-on-one. I love the one-on-one. I tell you, I really do love it. But then sometimes I think that's why Estelle and I were creating now this mastermind circle where we want to do exactly that, where we can put the executives together, because I think they can bounce off ideas from each other. And I
Very
think
good.
that's
Yeah.
what we need to, the facilitator. I think we as coaches need to be as well facilitator to bring them together.
Well, I think that's been the biggest secret to our success. Our average client has been with us over 7 years, month to month. So they stay very long times. They make over 400,000 a year on average earnings. So they are successful. They don't start with us with that, but that after 5 years, they're over 400,000 income. And I put them together with each other. They get to know each other. And that is the big glue is their relationships with each other as part of your coaching matters. So, connections are everything.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is all about. Donna, it was such a pleasure to have you on the show. Stay on the show just after I ended the broadcast. Just we wanted to thank you again, but I just officially will end now the broadcast, and then we will have just a 2-minute chat afterwards.
Wonderful.
Thanks again. It was my pleasure.
Let's all
Bye, everyone.
go dance.